Yo, what up YouTube? It's your boy HB Clips, aka Pretty Boy Ray. And today we got a very basic video for y'all today. So quick update for me. I tweaked my knee last week. I believe it was either Monday or Thursday. So I believe it was Thursday though, but I'm not 100% sure. But Monday I went into the gym, started my squats regularly, and I went to 185, a play in 25. Yeah, 185. And my knee was hurting a little bit, so I kind of tried to take it easy for the rest of that day. So basically, since Monday, I've just been doing knee mobility. Well, not just. Tuesday, I did chest and back. Wednesday, I did shoulders and arms. As y'all see the shoulders, you feel me? But I've been trying to take it easy because, you know what I'm saying? Your boy is not trying to cook his knees, especially the knees. The knees is one of the most important parts of life. You feel me? If I don't got my knees, what am I gonna do? And we got some Shaco gameplay right here. But yeah, without the knees, what am I gonna do? You feel me? So I've been doing like some knee mobility stuff and trying to get my knee right. Today I also hit core. I will show y'all the abdominals, but I am in a towel. So I'm not gonna do that just in case the towel fall, you feel me? But today I was also talking to a lady that I always see in the gym. We always talk about the Bible. And basically, she lent me her Bible, well, one of her 4 Bibles, because she was telling me how it has pictures of like the tabernacles and all that. And that really interested me because in the Bible you get a lot of descriptions and like about lineage and stuff. But having that visual representation gotta be different. So I'm glad that I get to see now like the visual representation of how the tabernacle looks. The paths, how like how Israel looked different in different time moments and stuff. But yeah, we always get to talking about the Bible. So we was also talking about, so I finished my reading recently for Daniel. I gotta say, man, Daniel gotta be one of the best books, man. Like the amount of like storytelling and like the way it really shows the importance of faith is really a great book. The stories that I found most like impactful, basically, and I was told that the book of Hosea goes more in depth into it. The king called Nebuchadnezzar had built like a statue, and he had wanted people to worship the statue and praise it at every certain of an hour. So basically, the town people snitched on this group of people that was not worshiping the statue. And the king was so furious. The king was like, oh, if y'all don't worship this, today, then I'm gonna throw y'all into a burning furnace. And basically, they loyal to God, so they was like, we not worshiping that statue, gang. You feel me? So Then, after they didn't worship it, obviously, the king sent them into the furnace. And basically, like, after a while, so basically, even the soldiers that were ordered to throw them into the furnace died from the flames of the furnace. But when Nebuchadnezzar the king, when he looked into the furnace, they were literally like unscathed. They didn't even smell like smoke or nothing, and they were basically in there with a fourth person. So originally he threw in 3 people into the furnace, and when he looked in there was 4 people. Now, when the book goes into it, it basically explains it as the Son of Man was with them in the furnace. Now, I'm gonna assume the Son of Man, obviously, spoiler alert, Jesus. Sorry, them boiled eggs, bro, they be leaving a nigga thirsty, you feel me? But yeah, I'm assuming Son of Man, obviously, Jesus. And my fault, I just locked in crazy right there. Boom! Son of Man, obviously Jesus. So then after that, he's like, okay, come out of the furnace. Like, he's telling them come out of the furnace, because obviously he not gonna go get them. He know damn well if he try to step in that furnace, bro, probably cooked. So they like, okay, and they come up out of the furnace, and they're like, then he's like, okay, I am going to appoint you because obviously your God is mighty. He protected you from the furnace. So, hey, no other God could do that, basically. The guy is admitting, like, oh, no other God could do such a feat. And then, so basically my point is, they only got saved because they had the faith that they have in God. And God basically honored their faith and rewarded them for being faithful. And then also, this is repeated again in a later section. So those 3 people, they grew up basically with Daniel, and they basically, Daniel got them appointed because before all that happened, Daniel had interpreted the king's dream for him, which nobody else was able to do. So the king was like, okay, since you have the wisdom and you were able to interpret this dream for me, boom, 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 here's this, that, and the third. And he was like, also, can you do that same thing unto my fellow classmates? Or I don't know if they're classmates, but I know they were taught together. But do it the same thing unto my classmates, and basically blah 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 that. So Daniel wasn't in the furnace with them, but later something happened where it's basically like, I believe, like, some townspeople were like hating on Daniel for whatever reason, so they went to the king and was like, oh king, like, Daniel did this, that, and the third. He must pay for his whatever. Like, basically, he must pay for, like, what he's done. And basically, the king made a bunch of rules, and try to get Daniel up on out of here. And when Daniel, he was basically like, all right, I'm gonna put you in a den with a lion, and GG's, buddy. Goodbye. Get out of here. Like, by the time the morning comes, you should be dead, because it's a lion. Lions aren't the friendliest of creatures. You feel me? So then by the time the morning came, the king went to go to the lions then to check on Daniel and see if he was dead. And Daniel was perfectly fine. The lion was just chilling. And God basically, not God, the king of Babylon at the time was like, okay, clearly your God has protected you, so I'm gonna reward you with all this stuff. And then the people that quote unquote like try to basically snitch on Daniel, even though he did nothing, they basically got fed into the lions then. So while the lion left Daniel alone, the lion was not leaving them alone. Not at all. The lion tore them up, as you can already guess. And I'm not gonna lie, Shaco and Aram is so much fun, bro. But the lion tore them up because obviously they were not followers of God. They were part of the Babylonian kingdom, which were being told to worship this statue thing and all these other gods, blah, blah, blah. Lowercase g, by the way. And God, yeah. So basically, my point in saying all that was to explain to you that Daniel was really just a book about faith, and like how having faith could really just save you, because as long as you trust God, God is gonna be there for you. And that goes even though I'm not up to the New Testament yet, I know that saying in the Bible is all you need is a faith of a mustard seed. So it's like saying like how no matter how small your faith is, as long as you believe in God, like, you're good. Which is kind of crazy, because if you think about it, like, you feel me? Like, we find it so hard to just even have that little bit of faith. When that little bit is really all we need to just be under God's kingdom. But we as people, we're so like egotistical, and we want everything to be perfect, that we do like to question a lot. And mind you, when I say we, I am including myself. I'm not trying to seem holier than thou. I'm not better than you. I will never be better than you. I've gone through a lot in my life. I've learned a lot in my life. I've gone through experiences where I've hated God. I've gone through experience where I have had disdain towards God. I've had times where I've questioned, like, why is all this happening to me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? If there is a God, why is he allowing all of this to happen to me? Basically, just all that to say, I'm not perfect, and I never try to portray myself as such. I just could only do the best that I can, and I've been trying to Um, I've been trying to get better and closer to God. And I also thank him for allowing me the opportunity to get closer to God, because I'm not gonna lie, if this was the Old Testament, he might have just knocked me off. I might have just not been here today. Like, during that time, it was like in high school where I was just very negative, very down, very, like, had a lot of animosity towards God. God could have really just been like, you know what? Since you hate me this much, hold this. Bow. And I'm gone. I'm out of here. But he didn't do that. That's really my guy. That's really my guy. He. My fault. This gameplay, bro. Sheesh, I'm going crazy. I'm going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's me, I'm Mario. Damn, what if this brutalizer build out of? But yeah, that's basically the end of that. I just want to let y'all know about that experience that I've been getting from the Bible. You feel me? Give y'all a little personal conversation, because I feel like the problem why a lot of people are pushed away from God, or a lot of people are pushed away from church, is because they believe that the people of the church believe themselves to be holier than thou. But they just really, it's really easier to spread God's message when you're able to be more vulnerable and truthful about who you are and what you could do better, because a lot of people relate to stories of, like, that they could relate to, basically. So the lesson today is basically have faith. And even if, for example, in your experience, you've had a hard time coming to terms with God, or you feel like the people of God's kingdom are hypocritical or whatever, yes, we're humans and nobody's perfect. But don't let the people of God's kingdom, in a way, deter you from God. Because God is, just because humans are like this, don't mean that God is like this. God tells us to be a certain way. God tells us not to be hypocritical. A lot of people are hypocritical. God tells us not to judge. A lot of people judge. It's just life. But don't let that deter you from getting closer to God. And if you got to, just look for God on your own. You don't need to go to a church. If you find a church home that fits you, then that's fine. Go to that. But anything that brings you closer to God, because everybody's journey is different. God has a different journey and a different purpose for everybody. So just find your way to get closer to God. And that's my message for today. Peace. Mwah.